Hello everyone, hope you are well. I wanted to continue on my legend series, and today I wanted to give someone who was rated as the best cricket captain in the world by Shane Warne, and who was an elegant left handed batsman and classy batsman, and one of the most perfect gentlemen of the game of cricket as well, and the longest serving captain of New Zealand cricket, and who is also the most successful captain in New Zealand cricket history in one days and test matches. I'm talking about the magnificent captain Stephen Fleming of New Zealand. He was born April 1st, 1973, in Christchurch, New Zealand, and he is definitely regarded as one of the best captains of all time. And as like Shane Warne mentioned, he was the best captain in the game at that time. And in the 90s, there were a lot of great captains like Mark Taylor, Hansikronia, Arjuna Ranatunga, and Stephen Fleming. Especially considering the team that he had, he didn't have the resources that the Australian team or the South African team had. But with the team he had, the way he handled the team and his tactical brilliance, I will come to it later. He was just an amazing captain. In all, he played 111 test matches for New Zealand and he scored 7,172 runs at an average of just above 40, and he scored 900s, which is actually less for a batsman of his caliber, but it includes three double centuries, and his highest was 274 not out. And he also took 171 catches in Test cricket. I mean, he was a prolific slip fielder as well. And in one day cricket, he played 280 matches and he scored 8,037 runs and he scored 800s and his highest was 134 not out, which came against South Africa in the 2003 World Cup, which was an absolutely sublime innings, classy innings that won the match for New Zealand. I'll come to it later as well. And he also took 133 catches in one day internationals. That is his statistics. And Stephen Fleming, there are a lot of records in his name. He is the longest serving captain of New Zealand cricket. He won 28 test matches for New Zealand as a captain, and that is the highest by any New Zealand captain. And in one day internationals, he won 98 one day internationals for New Zealand, which is also the highest by a New Zealand captain. And he took over the captaincy from Lee German, and he was the youngest New Zealand captain at that time, at 23 years of age. And he also has another record. He's the first non-wicket keeper to take 300 catches in international cricket, that is Test cricket and one day cricket combined. And he is a captain that led New Zealand to their first International Cricket Council trophy, which was the 2000 ICC Knockout Champions Trophy, which New Zealand won. That was the first major title that New Zealand had won. And there are a lot of things to say about Stephen Fleming. One thing that I will never forget, something that I personally noticed was that series against Australia. I've never seen that kind of captaincy from anyone. Normally, you would expect a captain to get an opposition batsman out with their weakness, but I saw an instance where few matches where Stephen Fleming got an opposition batsman. In this case, it was Damien Martin, the classy player from Australia, who was very good on the back foot drives. And Shane Bourne was bowling, and Stephen Fleming put two catching positions for the back foot drive, for the uppish back foot drive, and he got Damien Martin out a few times of the bowling of Shane Bourne. And that was an amazing thing to watch, getting an opposition batsman out on their strengths and not a weakness. I mean, that was the first time I ever saw that. And Stephen Fleming's captaincy was just amazing because it was a combination of a lot of things. He was an excellent reader of the game. He was tactically brilliant, and he was a calm and collected head as well. And his field placements was also excellent. So it all made him an amazing captain. And there's no wonder why Shane Warne called him the best captain. And he's also the head coach of the Chennai Super Kings now. And Stephen Fleming's that 134 not out that he scored against South Africa in the 2003 World Cup was a sublime innings. It was a rain-shortened match, and New Zealand were chasing, and he scored a sublime 134 not out when there was Donald Pollock bowling, and he was not out, and New Zealand won that match by 9 wickets. I mean, he was just classy, and it was one of the most masterful innings I've seen in one-day cricket. And it is the type of innings that Stephen Fleming was capable of playing. Unfortunately, he only scored 9 centuries in Test cricket and 8 centuries in one-day cricket. But that 134 not out in that World Cup against South Africa was an innings of a lifetime, and definitely the best one-day innings that Stephen Fleming had played. It was just a classy innings, and he used to time the ball really well. Obviously, being a left-handed batsman, he always looked elegant, and he was a tall batsman. He was 6 foot 2 inches, and he was an amazing gentleman. And the New Zealand team, they always conducted themselves so excellent on the field. I mean, New Zealand and Sri Lanka are probably the two most well conducted team on the field. They always played cricket in the right spirit, and a lot of credit should go to Stephen Fleming for that. And he scored. He only scored 9 centuries, I said, in Test cricket, and he had scored three double centuries in that 9 centuries, and it made him the first New Zealander to score three Test double centuries, and that is an amazing achievement considering the fact that there were great batsmen like Martin Crowe, Glenn Turner, all who played for New Zealand. So that is an amazing achievement in Stephen Fleming's name. And he at that time he held the record for the most number of matches as captain of a country, 218 matches that he led New Zealand in one day internationals. It was a world record until it was broken by Ricky Ponting of Australia. So there's a lot of records in Stephen Fleming's name, especially as a captain, and he was just excellent as a captain and as a batsman, and such a perfect gentleman. I mean, a lot of people loved Stephen Fleming, and even though New Zealand never had the greatest of teams, and you have to remember that New Zealand played in at that time. They played in an era where the Australian team was such a dominant force with Shane Warne, Glenn McGrath, and all the great batsmen in the Australian team. South Africa were a powerful team. India were very strong at home, especially. So New Zealand didn't have the best of resources. They had good players, yes, but not of the caliber of the Australian or South African players or Indian players at home, especially. But Stephen Fleming led from the front, and he always made New Zealand a very competitive team. He did have Daniel Vettori, Shane Bond, very good bowlers, and some good batsmen as well. But that is something that you have to consider when you rate a captain. You can't just rate a captain based on the percentage of their wins. You also have to consider what resources they had. I'm not saying Ricky Ponting or Steve O were less captains, but they had the luxury of Shane Warne, McGrath, and all the great batsmen, Gilchrist, etc. So it makes a job of a captain much easier. But Stephen Fleming didn't have the best of teams, but he really made best use of it, and he was an absolutely born leader. That has to be said, leading from the front, and he was always a calm, cool head, and tactically very brilliant as well. So that is some things that I have to say about Stephen Fleming. I hope I haven't missed out on anything. And that catches, I said, just a recap, that 300, he was the first player to take 300 catches in international cricket, that is test matches and one day matches combined. He's the first New Zealander to score three double centuries in test cricket. He's the longest serving captain of the New Zealand team, and also the most successful captain for New Zealand in test matches and one day matches, winning 28 test matches and winning 98 one day matches. And he was a very classy, sublime batsman who could have scored more centuries, but that was him. Anyway, I'm really proud to give you Stephen Fleming. A lot of people have a lot of time for Stephen Fleming. He was just an amazing captain, has to be said again and again, and a very classy batsman. And thank you to Stephen Fleming for all the great memories and for setting such a standard for captaincy in international cricket and always leading by example, and also for setting a code of conduct in the New Zealand team. They behaved better than any team in the world, and everyone knows that. So, a lot of credit should go to Stephen Fleming, who is definitely one of the greatest legends of New Zealand cricket and world cricket. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Take care. God bless you.